former Vice President Frans Timmermans, who actually from the LIFE program that is dedicated for the protection of nature, diversity, and the real green transition, so they have just decided to give money to lobbyists who were lobbying for the European Commission Green Deal goals or even further. So what happened here, that instead of financing the green transition itself, they have financed their own propaganda. And this is a problem. I'm so delighted to be here, to be very honest, and speaking about the Green Deal, because during these last 5 years I always had the intention to speak about what happened during the negotiations of the Green Deal. And now I'm here, and when preparing myself, what I had in mind that somehow I have to bring some ideas how this situation happened about the Green Deal and what kind of process has led to the current problems, because we can find here notions of abuse of power, sometimes real and deep problems of the EU institutions, and also the negligence of European interests. So this is what I'm going to cover now. I will start with a principle coming from the Roman law, because I think for us to see clear, to see what happened really, we have to just go back to the Roman law. And in the Roman law, there is a principle that says that impossible must not be attempted. And this is exactly what happened in the case of the Green Deal, because there were just two promises. One promise that it will increase the competitiveness of European industry, and then there was a second one that it will also offer a perspective in the crisis situation, because there was the pandemic going around already, and the green transition itself will be the solution. And these two conditions were obviously not met. And when considering this situation, we can obviously wonder whether this was like an intentional thing or this was a careless thing on behalf of the European Commission, but the situation was there, so it happened. And I would like to cite President von der Leyen from that time when she has presented the Green Deal, and she gave like an overview what Green Deal will bring. So what she said was, I am convinced that the old growth model that is based on fossil fuels and pollution is out of date, and it is out of touch with our planet. The European Green Deal is our new growth strategy, so it is a growth strategy. Yeah? It is a strategy for growth that gives more back than it takes away. And we want to really make things different. We want to be the front runners in climate-friendly industries, in clean technologies, and in green financing. But we also have to be sure that, it's a very typical Commission phrase, no one is left behind. Okay, so did this really happen? I don't think it happened. And that was the basic situation when starting the negotiations in 2019. And things became worse and worse. What has led to the situation? Well, first is that there was an ideological, I would say, overindulgence. Then the second is that there was also the political composition of the EP back in time, majority heavily in favor of ultra-green policies and ultra-green aims. Then thirdly, heavy lobbying. Well, I'm going to cover this a bit more because this is an interesting thing about lobbying and the Commission in this case. And last but not least, the desire to somehow accommodate the United States. So this was also a problem. And this composition has really has led to a situation where things went very, very wrong. I would like to just mention or try to cover the main considerations the Commission had when presenting the Green Deal. So first of all, it was, so they were speaking about the necessity of climate and environmental policy and becoming the first climate neutral continent by 2050. So the Commission didn't really want to have a green transition, but the greenest transition ever. And this was obviously a problem of proportionality. Then secondly, they have also considered that we need energy security and strategic autonomy. Well, things became rather worse, as we have just heard from MEP Haider. Did the Commission ever consider the negative business effects? Well, they did. So the problem is that they did. And still, they have led and they have followed the direction they have decided about it. Because there was no reality check. And when seeing that there was no reality check, one could consider that was it really a careless action on behalf of the Commission, or was it intentional? I don't really want to say the answer for this, but we should just consider the different options. I think this is important. Let's speak about political miscalculation now, because this is crucial to have the clear view about the things that happened. So the first is pressure on behalf of the European Parliament. What did we experience? We have experienced that left-wing parties really went crazy on the Green Deal. So they made things just much worse than they have been at the beginning. And there were also the Commission initial proposal that were turned into the much heavier and much stricter legislative time frame. For instance, they were just arguing that the EU needs more ambitious targets and stricter regulations. Then they just really wanted to get rid of the opt-out options. Then they were also very much in favor of the CBAM without full industrial protections. And they even went into having great tensions with the member states. So they tried to be powerful, but instead they were just abusing their power. But so was this just coming from the left ideology, or was this thing something more serious? And when answering this question, we have to just dig into the recent lobby scandal that I would like to cover here, because I think it is really important to speak about it. That it was, I think, Dutch press Telegraph speaking about the problem of former Vice President Frans Timmermans, who actually from the LIFE program that is dedicated for the protection of nature, diversity, and the real green transition, so they have just decided to give money to lobbyists who were lobbying for the European Commission Green Deal goals, or even further. So what happened here, that instead of financing the green transition itself, they have financed their own propaganda. And this is a problem, because obviously the taxpayers' money is not for financing propaganda, especially not for financing propaganda of the European Commission. It was really dedicated to help the businesses, help the industries, help the civil societies who were really the real civilians who would like to bring closer the real perspective of green transition. But this was not the case, and well, the money was huge they have spent, so it is almost 1 billion euro. There were several NGOs concerned in this scandal, and we cannot see clear. And you know, I'm dealing with directly managed EU programs, which means that we are covering all the programs. Among them, there is one program, LIFE. And we just simply don't know what else happened with the other programs, because we can often see SERF program going to crazy, financing crazy initiatives. So more clarity should be brought on this, because this is really and truly a problem. I have 2 minutes left. So what I'm doing now is to conclude, because I would say that we are just before the MFF negotiations. And I think that it is really time to put all these things on the table, because if we are not doing this now, not just the Green Deal situation will be repeated, but even more serious problem could be performed by the European institutions. So here, it is often to speak about the public trust. And we are sitting here or standing here, we are all in favor of European integration, but not this kind of integration. So we should be more critical on things that are happening everywhere in the EU institutions. And I would also speak out loud about public trust, because we have experienced in June how public trust has just disappeared from the European system, and how the European voters became really frustrated about what they have experienced in the last 5 years. It was not just the farmers being on the street, but also businesses arguing that this is not the way, this is not the mandate that they gave to the European Commission to follow, and this is not the European politics they would like to see here. So to have a truly effective green policy, because green policy is still important, and to have a competitive Europe, I would really see that we need objectives that are concentrating on justice and also the rule of law. Because rule of law is very often cited and forced towards the member state, but we cannot really hear that it would be forced towards European institutions. So this element is still missing from the picture. And when speaking about taxpayers' money, well, I would say that the Green Deal situation really shows that we need more respect for European economies, we need more respect for European businesses, we need more respect for taxpayers' money, and we need more respect for the rule of law also in Brussels, also within the European institutions. And I would conclude here, and I think that we will have more time to discuss this further, because I would like to also cover later on what kind of direction the Commission intends to follow now. And this U-turn, where is it really a U-turn, or is it still the same direction? We don't know. But thank you for your attention.